Win big with new DRF All Access past performances. With one best-in-class product, you now get all three past performance formats. Go to DRF.com and use coupon code ONEFREEPP for a free single card today.
Hi everybody, Dan Illman, Mike Beard, taking a look at race number 11 on Breeders' Cup Saturday. It's the Grade 1 Mile. Let's take a look at this field. Some really nice middle distance turf horses in here running for $2 million, and we've got a little bit of everything. We've got Carl Spackler and More Than Looks, who are two exceptional horses in North America. Johannes, the best turf horse in Southern California, and you've got some quality Europeans, of course.
One of the stronger fields over the 2 days of the Breeders' Cup. Dan, this is a wide open race. There are several really talented horses in here. You know, the tight turn, two-turn mile, it's going to make the trip very important for these horses.
I guess Goliad, the number 5, is going to be the speed in this race, Mike. He really took his game to another level at Kentucky Downs. It seems like horses with his running style, whether it's A.G. Bullet or Goliad himself, Southern California speedsters somehow do well on that course.
He really liked it there. He ran the 2 best races of his life in winning those races, but he's also a graded stakes winner over the mile back here in Southern California, and he used his speed that day too.
Carl Spackler, of course, is a horse with tactical speed. Outside post bother you?
I mean, not really. He's such a handy horse, Dan. I feel like they do have to come out of their running, and they're going to have to try to make their way forward up to that first turn there, but I think he's going to be able to get a position.
Breaking from the inside is a quality 3-year-old filly based in France, Ramatuelle, a daughter of Triple Crown winner Justify, coming off a win in the Group 1 Prix de la Forêt. I thought she found a very nice spot in the second flight in between horses. She got out at just the right time, and then she did what she had to do. I don't think that was the strongest field in the world, but I think for a final prep before the Breeders' Cup, just fine.
She was super sharp in that race. That was a very impressive performance. It was over soft ground, and maybe that's just what she likes. I feel like if you had to go back to the 2 Group 1s prior to that, where she just came up short going the mile, it could call the distance into question, Dan. I'm not looking at her that way. I think she's going to get the mile, and I think she has the right running style for this kind of a race.
Breaking from the inside post, if she gets out of the gate well, I think she could find another good trip just off the early lead. And I do think with the tight turns here at Del Mar and the quick going, a mile might be well within her scope. The number 2 is Chili Flag. You are a big fan of this horse, and why not? You have scored with her several times. She loves the mile, and she got it last time out in the First Lady, a race where her stablemate Gina Romantica got the jump on her. Now she doesn't have a lot of early speed, so she's always at the mercy of pace and trip.
Yeah, well, see if it works out for her. You're going to get a good price on her in this race, and it's not going to be easy for her to win in here. She's really good. She wants the mile. She's going to sit back, try to make one run into what she's hoping, I guess, is going to be a big pace, and we'll see if she can pick up some pieces.
Geoglyph has not won a race since the 2022 Japanese 2,000 guineas at 1.25 miles. He's sort of run at 1.5 miles and 1.25 miles, and sometimes they run him at the mile. Personally, I like him at longer distance races. His last race, I thought the Sapporo Kinnan was one of his better starts recently.
Yeah, it looks like it. I wasn't sure about this. First of all, I wasn't sure that he was necessarily good enough in here, Dan, and I'm not sure that this is a good distance for him.
7th place finisher from his last race, did come back to run second in a Group 2 in Japan. I think Diego Velasquez is a fascinating contender for Aidan O'Brien. The son of the great Frankel has won 4 times, including his most recent race, the Group 2 Solana. And while that race was a Group 2, it had a lot of quality in it. 2 listed next out winners came out of that race. The 3rd horse, Mountain Bear, shipped here and finished 3rd in the Coolmore Mile. The 4th place horse finished 2nd in a Group 2. Diego Velasquez appears to be coming into his own.
Yeah, I like the way that he's sort of coming up into this race. They tried to stretch him out earlier this year, and it just didn't work out. He doesn't really seem like he wants to go that far. They've cut him back in distance since. He is coming forward again. This horse was shaped with a lot of potential last year. 3 times they've run him on left-handed courses so far in his career, Dan. He's won all 3 of those races.
Maybe it's because we're jaded New York turf handicappers. We're not used to seeing a lot of speed in any of our turf races. But this Breeders' Cup, we've got Full Count Felicia with the potential to set a blazing pace in the filly and mare turf. And I won't be surprised if Goliad is sent on a mission in the mile, as he was in the Thunder Road earlier in the year, where he opened up 12 on the backstretch before winning. He won his last 2 starts, including this race, the Mint Million, where he went fast from start to finish.
Yeah, I mean, listen, again, his last 2 races are both really good. The fact that they came over to the Kentucky Downs turf course doesn't give me a lot of faith here, because everything he did prior to that, there are some good races in there, Dan. They're not going to beat this field.
What notable speech shows up? If the good one shows up, the one that won the 2,000 guineas in the Sussex Stakes, he's going to be a real handful for trainer Charlie Appleby. The one that showed up in the St. James Palace has got no shot.
His St. James Palace wasn't good. I agree with you there. I'm not sure what his excuse was coming out of that race. I mean, I know what his excuse was for the most recent start. The sort of soft turf, it seems like he didn't really handle it. And that was a race that his stablemate just went right to the lead, wired the field. There was no passing going on. I'm not that concerned about that one. The St. James's Palace was a little more disappointing, but all of his other starts are good. This horse seems like he's tailor-made for this kind of a quick turf course with the 2 turns. To me, he's the horse to beat.
And he's not just some one-run closer that needs pace help. He's likely going to be right in the thick of things under William Buick. Soft ground in the Prix du Moulin last time out. You said it all. He was in against a tough field as well. Sharon came back to win a Group 1. The 7th place finisher came back to win a Group 2. Porta Fortuna is a 3-year-old filly that ran second in last year's Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies Turf and seems to have even improved in 2024. She's won her last 3 races, including all Group 1s, including a race in Ireland last time out. She beat Soprano, who came back and ran second in the Queen Elizabeth II Cup at Keeneland.
Yeah, all Group 1 miles in her last 3 races. They're all really good performances, Dan. I feel like this is going to be even tougher for her. She's had Ramatuel's number so far over there, but man, going back, I don't know if you agree with this or not, going back to that 1,000 guineas, she was second, Ramatuel was third. Ramatuel ran really well, and they made the early move. Still had a long way to go when she made the lead, and she just couldn't quite hold on.
More Than Looks, the number 8, is a very talented horse with a strong closing kick. He ran a lot better than it looks on paper in last year's Breeders' Cup Mile, making up a ton of late ground and only beaten 2 lengths. Now, it took Cherie a long time to get More Than Looks back to the races, and you could argue he's been very unlucky in both starts. In the 4-star Dave off the layoff, he was a race with no pace whatsoever. Yeah. Carl Spackler got the jump. He was flying too little too late. In the Coolmore Turf Mile, he was forced extremely wide going into the first turn, settled in the back behind a glacial pace, and Carl Spackler wired him again. More Than Looks gets a more favorable pace scenario this time.
It seems like it. Listen, he was off the layoff 2 back anyway, but he was never beating Carl Spackler that day. Not so sure that wasn't the case last time. This horse was flying through the stretches. That was a really nice performance, a real step in the right direction. He needs a trip. He's a dangerous horse in here.
Johannes has won 7 of 8, and he is a really talented turf horse based in Southern California. 3 consecutive triple-digit buyers on the way in, including this race, the City of Hope Mile. And what I like most about Johannes is he's such a tactical horse. He always seems to put himself in a position to win.
He's a lot like Carl Spackler in that regard. He's got great tactical speed. He's always in the right spot. And then when Rispoli calls on him in the stretch, he is there for him. This horse is really good. I actually feel bad, Dad. I feel like I'm not giving this horse the kind of respect he deserves. He's a really good horse. He fits in here.
I wonder if last time was the time for the 10, win for the money. He looked a little bit dirtied up going into that Woodbine Mile. He ran a big figure at Gulfstream in his first start of the year, then had a slow-paced race at Churchill Downs over a turf course that not a lot of horses like, and then caught a good turf course at Ellis Park in a race where, again, he ran very well while wide. In the Woodbine Mile, the race we're showing you right now, he runs down a nice horse.
He does run down a nice horse. I mean, it was an okay field. It wasn't, a super strong field for that kind of a race, but he, earned another triple-digit buyer getting the job done. He did get a perfect trip in that race, though.
10 Happy Rose is not the craziest long shot in the world coming from Japan. This horse pulled off a, if those odds are right, 207-1 score in the Group 1 Victoria Mile 2 starts back. And then last time out, off the layoff, they cut her all the way back to 6. And I just think that was way too sharp for her. And the winner of that race is very good. Came back to run second in another Group 1. I think they were using that race as a prep, and she gets back to a distance where she's very comfortable.
Yeah, I felt like you got to look at that last one as a prep. Now they're going to ship her over here and take on a really, really tough field from a very tough post.
Carl Spackler has been good since day one. He's won 7 of 10 for Chad. He's won 6 of his last 7. Here's his win in the Coolmore Turf Mile, where he broke from the far outside post and just was immediately able to make the lead, make the rail, set the pace inside of a long shot. They weren't going fast. He sprints on home.
Even breaking from the outside post in that race, and you could see that trip coming from a million miles away. There was no speed in that race. You knew he was going to clear. He did clear, and he kept going through the stretch. I have no knocks on this horse. Post 12's no bargain. This is a way tougher field. This horse is good.
Top pick time for the Breeders' Cup Mile. Mike, where you headed?
I'm going to take Diego Velasquez in here, Dan. I'm not sure. I'm not sure that he can quicken quite enough in here to go with some of these better horses, but I like him since they've cut him back. I like him on these left-handed courses, and I think he's only getting better.
I'm using him, and I'm using a lot of them in multiple race wagers, but my top selection is Ramatuel, who's going to have to prove herself at the mile against a tough group. But I think breaking from the rail, if she breaks well, she can get in good position and be in with a chance turning for home, and I think the price will be square as well. Really good betting race for some talented turf milers. It's the Breeders' Cup Mile. Good luck.
Hey friends, you look like you're in need of a winner. If you enjoyed the great content right here, just click and subscribe right here and enjoy the great DRF.com race of the days, the phenomenal stakes previews, and so much more. Many of that content featuring me and my exceptional selections. Trust me, you won't regret it.